as models.
To provide new directions.
To provide new directions.
For our people.
For our people.
We will be free.
We will be free.
And self-determining.
And self-determining.
We are an African people.
We are an African people and we will win.
Yes.
Hold on, my people.
Hold on, my people.
By Al Young. Stay beautiful, but don't stay down underground too long. Don't turn into a worm or a mole or a root or a stone. Come on out into the sunlight. Breathe in trees, knock out mountains, commune with snakes, and be the very hero of birds. But don't forget to poke your head up and blink, think, walk all around, swim upstream. Don't forget to fly.
Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. The revolution has come. We have only begun. The revolution is here. We must come from our fear. We got ourselves against the wall. We must listen to the call. Time to take it all back. We are young, gifted, and black. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. What's the call? What's the call?
YGB.
Yeah, young, gifted, and black in fact. I'm proud to be black when say I'm proud to be black, y'all. That's a fact, y'all. And if you try to take his mind, take it back, y'all. It's like that, y'all. Being brave, y'all. Rather die than ever be a slave, y'all. Proud to be black, y'all. That's a fact, y'all. And if you call me a nigga, take it back, y'all. Better than that, y'all. I can see y'all. Rather die than ever be free. So check it and say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. We can't hear you. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you something that you should know. That history is how we go. Now, every time I was born a slave, she was a tiny black woman when she was raised. She was living to be given us a life she gave. She risked her life so we wouldn't be slaves. There was a man in the inventor who invented so well. He invented a force for a man named Bell. George Washington Carlos made a peanut bread. So any man with a mind can't forget. You read about Malcolm X in the history text. There's no book on how he broke neck. What's wrong with you, man? How you can be so dumb? Like Dr. King said, we don't overcome. We are young, gifted, and black in fact. I'm proud to be black when we say it again. We are young, gifted, and black in fact. I'm proud to be black when we say it. I'm proud to be black, y'all. That's a fact, y'all. And if you try to take his heart, take it back, y'all. Like that, y'all. I'm getting brave, y'all. Rather die than ever be safe, y'all. I'm proud to be black, y'all. That's a fact, y'all. And if you call me a nigga, take it back, y'all. Better than that, y'all. I can see y'all. Rather die than ever be free. So check it and say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud.
Ashe, young, gifted, black, and proud. Ashe.
Asheo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, for young, gifted, and black. Young, gifted, and black. Now, you can't tell me that that's not what Nina Simone had in mind when she wrote the song Young, Gifted, and Black. That has to be what she had in mind, Young, Gifted, and Black. Good morning, we'll say. All right. Okay, my first job is to tell you that on, first of all, my name is Babatai. That's my first name. That's my first job. On December the 7th, 1980, some 40 years ago, Brother Minister Michael Isioso Sawande, who was Tim Soul at the time, and Minister Bill Calhoun started what they call the Wose Community Church of the Sacred African Way. And here we are 42 years later, still here. Let's hear it for Wose. And every other anniversary, we always start with the Stones of Fire saying, thank God for delivering.
You're delivering.
Wose.
This church will say.
Now, we start every service that we start, we open with the libation. And I see our brother minister who is going to give us the libation this morning is out in the audience passing our program. But without further ado, I am going to call to the front brother minister Sidney Coulter, who is going to pour a libation and honor our ancestors. Minister Sidney.
Shit.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I said in the Stones of Fire, we would always start by saying, thank God for delivering this church won't say. I thank God for delivering this church won't say. I say. We pour libation to remember those that have passed before us. And I want to read something, and for the anniversary, read something that is in the Hosea, which is a book written by translated by Milano Ron Karenga. And he says in one that generations pass away since the first day of creation, and other generations come in their place. The splendor of Ra rises in the morning and goes to rest in the west. Men beget women, women conceive, and every nostril breathes air. Day dawns and a newborn goes to their appointed places. Celebrate the days of rejoicing. Then, O priest, put the finest scents to your nose and garland of the lotus flower around your neck. Ashe. And then also in a book of by Agikwe Armor 2000 Seasons, he says that we shall continue trusting among those among us in whom spirit has not entirely lost remembrance of the way. We shall call to them, some shall find whose intimate of remembrance will turn intense and turn into conscious thought, turn them from thought to action. Our vocation is not a crippling suspicion that brings fear of motion. We are not a people of stagnant water. We are a moving stream, remembering the way. Ashe.
So we'll say we're about to have a welcoming dance from some of our sisters. Plus Jalea. All right. And now, we'll say it's been around 42 years. And for most of those years, we'll say has been led and guided and taught by a singing group called the Stones of Fire. And so I'm going to ask the Stones of Fire to come to the front and give us one song.
Check, check, check. Yes, yes.
Testing, test. Yellow. Hello. White. Yellow. Yellow. There we go. White, yellow.
As I said, the Stones of Fire have been around for over 40 years, singing and trying to be, we call ourselves the musical messengers of the Wosay Community Church. And so on this 42nd anniversary, we would like to bring at least one song, a song to honor our 42-year history. And there's some people who sung with us who are in the audience who are not singing with us this morning. All right. You have enough? Got it.
Check, check.
This is the song that we, the Stones of Fire, consider our musical libation. As you know, and as you've heard earlier, a libation is when you pour a liquid to the earth to honor the ancestors. We raise our voices to honor the ancestors. And we want to honor a few ancestors in particular this morning. We want to honor all of those ancestors who at one time sang with us as a part of the Stones of Fire. So I want to start with the first director and the founder of the Stones of Fire, Brother Jeruba Osborne. Ashe. There's one brother who I sang with who is, I think, the best male singer that I have ever personally performed with. Brother Obrafo Andrews, Ashe. There were sisters with incredible voices like Sister Teresa Lewis, Ashe. And Sister Olaremi Hodari, Ashe. There was one of the most brilliant men that I've ever known, Dr. Robert Thornton, Ashe. And to the many, many, many more, too numerous to name, we say Ashe, Ashe. And we say thank you for singing with us. And we say, where are the ancestors? Can you see them? Can you feel them? This song says sometimes you can hear them. All you have to do is listen. Listen.
Often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things and to beings.
'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Ah, ah, those who have died have never, never left. The dead are not under the earth. They're in the rustling trees. They're in the groaning woods. They're in the crying grass. They're in the moaning rocks. The dead are not under the earth. So listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things and to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. I wish. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead have a pact with the living. They're in the woman's breast. They're in the wailing child. They're with us in the home, and they're with us in this crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things and to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. I wish.
Listen more often to listen more often to
Listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to the things and to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Mama Jasira. Sister Naila Kofer. Sister Monica Hayes. Sister Havetta.
Ashe, ashe, ashe.
And now we are going to have what we are calling a anniversary tribute. And it's going to be from our two main ministers, our lead two ministers, our foremost ministers, our longest running ministers. One has been here from the very beginning and the other started Sacramento, both say Sacramento. I want to bring to the stage, without further ado, on screen, it'll be Minister Makalisi, and I'll bring the screen back down. Be Minister Makalisi, and in the building, Minister Imhotep.
Ashe, will say, I'm in Ron. Ashe, ashe. So good to be alive and well in the spirit of might on this morning. So good to see so many of you, to hear the young, gifted, and Black youth, to see the sisters dancing, to hear Stones of Fire singing. Oh my goodness, it's so a glorious thing to be here. 42 years. 42 years. You know, I don't have a whole lot to say. I'm just feeling the fire, feeling the love, feeling the spirit, and just grateful that we've had accomplishments over 42 years that we're still alive. Right? One of the things that resonates with me, I hate to mention name, but the pastor of the church from which both Minister Calhoun and myself came, he was invited to speak at the Wosay community on, I think it was our second anniversary, but he came, but he brought with him a minister that he put forward to speak. And that minister came forward and he spoke to the choir that came with him from the other church, more than he spoke to the Wosay community. And he said, don't y'all worry about this thing over here. It ain't gonna last, it's just a cult. And so this cult is still here. And I was going to look up in the dictionary and see what it says about cult, but I'm putting that aside. Now we are people of the sacred African way. We are people who would not allow the spiritual contributions that our ancestors have made to the totality of humanity to just fade away. There was just something inside of us that just wouldn't allow that to happen. And so as we struggled, at first we're trying to get as much as we could out of the Bible that would be relevant and pertinent for us as a people. And we were making some progress with that. But then ASCAC came into being, the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. We went down there to LA, I think it was LA, somewhere in that area. And that was in 1984, 85, and got that information, got that inspiration. And we jumped over we jumped over all the hurdles. And so we've been carrying on in the spirit of mind. We've been carrying on with the power of September. We've been carrying on with the virtues of our way, doing all we can every day, every way we can. And I suspect, Brother Jahi is going to come up in a little bit later on, but one of the awesome things, and it was mentioned in the prayer by my sister, Mama Akanke, about those three sisters, Mama Jahi, Mama Jasiri, Sister, my age is getting on me right now. O'Leary. Okanona, yes, and Oyen. After we were meeting for several, maybe months, on Sundays after we had worship service, and they came back one Sunday after we had met the previous week, said, hey, the school is started. We started the school last Monday at Mama Oyen's house. And so we'll say Ile Omade has been going on for, I don't know the exact number now, somewhere near 40 years itself, 38, 39. Anyway, I'm just touched and pleased that what we endeavored to do is still being done, and looking forward to more to come, and just giving thanks and praises for all those who've gone before us, that have been part of this community, who've raised as ancestors you just heard, and those that are still here, and then those that are on the new side of things, looking forward to what contributions you will make as the spirit of Ma'at grows in your heart and has already grown in your heart, and what you have to bring to our ongoing quest to rise up and be the people of truth, beauty, and goodness, and get more of our people here, save them from being lost, and keep on rising up in the spirit of Mount, in the power of Septepi, to be one with the Most High, one of that sacred spirit, that sacred essence. Ashe, Amen Ra, Ashe.
Minister Biloxi, this is Kalahari. With your word about the cult, I would imagine the Baptist church during slavery was called a cult. According to Oba Tashaka, when the black slaves were willing to go into the church to hear the gospel and all that, they were plotting to when they can escape from slavery from their masters. So I would imagine they were called a cult too. So
Ashe. Yeah, they got all kind of names for us. Ashe. We just have to know who we are and exercise that Kuji Chagali. Ashe.
Thank you, Brother Kalahari. I always heard that cult is short for culture. And whose culture would we be celebrating when we're talking about the American Baptists? Whose culture would we be celebrating? And so that is what we'll say broke away from. The slaves broke away and set themselves free. In 1980, I was there on Galindo Street, 3209 Galindo Street, and there were 80 people there, and mostly well-wishers. And then I came back in March, and there were about 20 people there, and then I came back in July, and there were about 12 people there, and Minister Calhoun was not there. And I asked Minister Makalisi, where is Minister Calhoun? And he says, he's in the hospital. He did something to his back, and I went to go see him. He was in Providence Hospital. They don't have Providence Hospital anymore. It's called something else. And I went to see him, and he was in traction. And I told him I was getting ready to go to Egypt with Dr. Ben. And he says, I envy you. And I told him, I said, when I get back, I'm going to help you out with your church. And he looked at me, you know, okay, I got gray hair now, but they used to refer to me as young brother Imhotep. They don't do that anymore. And he looked at me like, yeah, sure. And I came back and started really going, we'll say, in September of 1980. And I think I'm one of the few people that's been baptized in Will Say. That first anniversary, and they had to get a long pool for me, you know, being 6'6", you know, I had to get but I'm one of the few people that is still remaining that was baptized. That first anniversary, Makalisi spoke about the second anniversary, which was really kind of like a gut punch to us. But that first anniversary, J. Alfred came, and those of you that are familiar with Reverend Dr. J. Alfred Smith, he's not a very tall man in stature, but when he speaks, it sounds like God is talking. You know, his voice. Actually, he wrote a book. It's called Preach On. It's a science, you know, that he's developed. For those ministers in training, if you'd like to learn how to preach, get that book, Preach On. J. Alfred shows you how to do it. But his sermon that day in the second service, we had two services. We had a service in the morning, we had a service in the afternoon, and that second service, J. Alfred came and he used the text, Genesis 6:4, which talks about the Nephilim. And he said there were giants in those days. And what he was referring to was Minister Calhoun and Minister Makalisi, that they were giants, but because of the steps that they had taken, They had taken destruction of Black civilization and looked at the shape of things to come and modeled their church after that. And then, you know, J. Alfred, he can really close. And he was like, I'm with you when the church is empty. I'm with you when the church is full. I'm with you. You know, and it was just, I mean, and everybody was just fell out. You know, it was just a real positive day. And we have been going on ever since.
Yes, yes.
We have been going ever since. Not because of some type of egotistical thing, but it's something, the work that we need to do with our people and our children. We have livicated individuals such as Baba Jahi, who is our headmaster of Ile Omade. I want to recognize a young lady, Sister Galia. She was a little girl at the time. Come on up here if you wouldn't mind. Come on. Galia. You know, I used to jump and shout and whoop and holler. And Kalia and Halima, they would say, why is Brother Imhotep yelling at us? I can't stop laughing. And so I had to change the way that I presented, but I want to recognize her because she just passed the test. And now she went from an LVN to an RN. Yeah. She just passed her test. So I just wanted to recognize her. I'm sorry if I embarrassed you, but we love you and we're just so proud of you. This is one of the reasons why Ile Omade was started.
Yes.
Because it was three sisters that had children, Oyen, Okanona, and Jasiri. They had, and so they needed something to teach their children. It's just by necessity that these things come about. I could go on, and I'm sure I'm gonna get a text from my wife later saying, sit down. But I just want to say happy anniversary to Wose community. 42 years, for me, it flew by.
Yes. Yes.
But there's so much more work that we need to do. We need to reach our young people. We need to take care of our older people, and we need to keep on, as the phrase used to be back in the day, we need to keep on keeping on. Ashe.
Ashe.
I moved to Sacramento in the summer of 1987. Yes, I've been there that long.
Ashe. Uraha kwasiku yakuzaliwa wose.
Ashe. Thank you, Ministers Imhotep and Makalisi. And I just want to point out for those who don't know that the Sister Jalea, who was just up here, is the daughter of Mama Jasiri.
Ashe. Ashe.
Okay, and so now one of the wonderful things that happened in this year, in our 41st year, I will say, was that we formed a relationship with the singing group. I guess two people can be a group, right? So we formed a relationship with this group who has performed for us every first Sunday this year. Today is first Sunday, and we wouldn't feel right if we didn't invite them to come and sing with us today. I haven't been able to look online, so I don't know if they're with us or not, but I'm sure that they're here.
Yeah, Baba Ty, we here.
If you're there, to be new.
Let's see, we here. Ready?
Please come in, and you and your beautiful bride, Mama Zakia, please come in and give us a song.
Okay, can you hear us?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Happy anniversary, Wose.
Happy anniversary, Wose.
42 years has been a blessing that you've been around for 42 years, and we're so glad that we're here today to help you celebrate your anniversary today. We would like to say, may the world and the land reign in peace.
Yes. The composition is Prince of Peace. My poem is entitled Looking Through My Eyes, 5.
Prince of Peace, won't you hear our plea? Ring your bells of peace, let loving never cease. Prince of Peace, won't you hear our plea? Ring your bells of peace, let loving never cease. Allah, hey, Allah, hey, Allah, hey, Allah, Allah, hey, Allah, hey, Allah, hey, Allah.
Looking through my eyes, I see monumental legacies, embracing you and me. We have come to the finale of another bewildering year, continuing to astound ourselves far and near. Looking through my eyes, it's no wonder we persevere, cherishing our heritage that brought us here. Cultural traditions planted firmly in soil, blood soaked from ancestors' toil. Family challenges often bring a tear, yet gives us the courage we undoubtedly fear. I see lightning clap, I hear thunder roar, holding on, standing together, powerful. This is the moment that opens the door. Looking through my eyes, collectively, we advance the banner, creating a future legacy to unify our bonds.
Prince of Peace, won't you hear our plea? Ring your bells of peace, let loving never cease. Prince of Peace, won't you hear our plea? Ring your bells of peace, let loving never cease. Prince of Peace. Thank you, Rose. We do have something also special for you, Rose. Since it's your 42nd anniversary, we would like to perform the song that I written last year for your 41st anniversary. The name of the composition is called Rose, We Love You.
And the poem that I wrote last year for Wose is entitled Wose, Community of the Sacred African Ancient Way.
We have traveled this world together throughout the days, the months, the years. Our faith has kept us strong throughout our happiness and tears. Some of us now are ancestors, but our flock is here to stay. We're known throughout the nation as the community of the ancient way. Jose, we love you. Jose is our home. Jose, we thank you for the ancient loving spirit that we know. Time has moved so swiftly as we reflect upon the past. 42 years ago, Jose community was cast. We traveled troubled waters with the faith of God at hand. We known throughout the nation as the community of the ancient way. Jose, we love you. Jose is our home. Jose, we thank you for the ancient love and spirit that we know.
A measure of time comes to mind, thinking how Jose, community of the sacred African way, has held up the culture, teaching the history of the ancient ones, uplifting the community for 42 years. Through all the challenges and obstacles, our people are moving beyond the fears, trusting, believing, knowing our people's resilience continue, rising, congregating, gathering, nourishing spirit, mind, body, encouraging love to elevate and circulate, allowing love to expand, cultivate, and blossom into hearts made of gold.
Jose, we love you. Jose is our home. Jose, we thank you for the ancient loving spirit that we know. Oh yes, Jose, dear Jose, we love you so. Ah, Jose, Jose, you're our home.
Ashe. That sound, that was beautiful. Ashe.
Bryant and Sister Zaki.
Ashe.
They are, you know, and we'll say we know what Kaumba means. It means creativity, and that's what they always bring to We'll Say, some creativity. So I thank you. Let's hear one more hand for them. And I want to And I always like them because a lot of times they bring music from one of my favorite entertainers of all time, Brother Pharaoh Sanders, who joined the Ancestors earlier this year. And I think that first song they sang, Hum Nala, was Pharaoh Sanders. That's who I remember doing it. If it wasn't, brother, correct me afterwards. But don't. Okay, so, and I want to say again, thank God for delivering this church won't save. Thank God for delivering.
For delivering, this church will save.
One of Wose's greatest achievements, is the school that is upstairs, Eleomini. Right? The school has been with us 36, 37 years. His brother Jahi is holding up, I think that was 7 fingers. The school has been with us 37 years. It's had a multitude of directors, and they were all great, right? But of the greats, we have the brother that is the director now, who has taken Wose, when it's taken Eleomini. When he started, Wose was preschool to 3rd grade, 4th grade. And now we run all the way through 8th grade, right? This brother has built and developed his school, and that's all I can say. There's a lot more I can say about him, but I'm going to let this brother speak for himself and speak for our school. Brother Jahi.
Ashe. Ashe.
That's the mic.
How y'all doing?
We good. No less than blessed.
No less than blessed.
I was asked to give a few words, a couple of minutes, since I'll try to be like Mr. Mahotep and be brief and to the point and concise. I was thinking about it though, and I had to come to the conclusion, as we all must, that there's nothing absolutely more important than a community having a school.
Yes.
If you don't have a school, if you profess to be a community and you lack a school, that is that you don't have a place to actually teach and develop your own young people. As our grand folks would say, you ain't worth a nickel.
Say that.
So I'm glad to say that we are worth more than a nickel.
Yeah.
Ashe.
How much? We got to determine that, but we definitely are worth more than a nickel. I also was reflecting, and we've been around the schools and around, this is this 37th year.
All right.
So we know the school was started just 5 years after Wose began in 81, started in 86. And when I thought about that, it came to me just about a week ago that this is actually my 20th year at the school. Now, we've been longer than that, but officially 20 years.
Yeah.
I took over the time when we were going through a transition. Myself and Minister Michael Lisi were serving as kind of pseudo temporary co-directors. That is that he did all the work and I just ran around and covered some things, right?
What?
So for those that don't know that for the first probably 5 years or so that I took over, maybe 4, that we had about 35 or 36 students.
Yeah.
For those that don't look further back than that, it used to be that upstairs on the 3rd floor, there were 2 schools here. They were both tiny schools.
Yeah.
So we had about 35 students or so. We worked very diligently to break the mark of 40, and it took us several years to get there. And once we did, we started just climbing up. And when I say we, I mean all of us began climbing up, right?
Yeah.
We've been at over 100 students for the better part of over a decade at this point. We have flushed out this entire building. And if you want to know how we did that, there's a brother named Baba Sidney. No. And one of the problems of Baba Sidney is that he found his way at Home Depot and purchased a sledgehammer. And so all he needed was a sledgehammer to take down a couple of walls upstairs. That's how we expanded. So we are much bigger than we were now. When I came on board, to full confession, I had never prayed publicly. Never. It's another story. I had never poured a libation publicly. I owned a drum, but I had never actually drummed publicly. In other words, 20 years ago, I was fully and completely unprepared for the position.
All right.
As things go for all of us, that we find ourselves placed in circumstances and positions that we hadn't anticipated, but circumstances require us to do what must be done.
Yeah.
And we believe, as our founders did, that is Mama Kanona, Mama Yin, and Mama Jasir, we believe that divine will give us the inspiration and, more importantly, the skills to do that which must be done.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad to say that today we can now say that you have a school that you may not realize this. it employs 20 people.
Yes.
That is, there are 20 people in the Bay Area who pay their mortgage or their rent because of the business that you operate.
Yeah.
You may not realize that. I told you earlier, we have over 100 students. That means there's about 70 to 80 families who deposit their children off here every single day with the expectation that you will teach them and also build character within them. They have that faith in you. There are 80 families right now throughout the Bay Area who are preparing this Sunday to get their kids here tomorrow in a place that you have created. Say, I say to yourself. Every year, your place, as tiny as it is, produces about 10 to 12 graduates every single year. Those graduates of our middle school are some of the most high demand 8th graders in this area. How do we know that? Because private high schools every year will send a bus. They will call us on the phone and say, hey, listen, we'd like to come and pick up your 8th graders to have them come to our school. That's how high demand your graduates are from your school. Now, these aren't Black schools. They're independent institutions, they're Catholic institutions, and somehow they are in love of our children. In fact, one of our students, a freshman at Bishop Dow, has been called upon to now daily deliver on the school's intercom, the school's prayer. Along with doing drumming and stuff. This is the place that you have. We have a school that its annual revenue is approaching $900,000 a year. We expect to soon hit $1 million in annual revenue. This is, again, your place. I want you to remember this. I keep saying it's what? It's your place that's doing what they do. The students who go on to high school, those students take advanced placement courses. That is the college courses that are taught in high school. They take those at a rate that is 2 or 3 times higher than the national average. Your graduates take AP Calculus considered to be the hardest AP class of them all at a rate that is also 3 times the national average. This is your folks. You may not realize this. We began a middle school back in 2009 on a whim, in very much the same sense that the school began on a whim. Said, hey, we got some kids here and we don't really like the middle schools out there, so let's go ahead and make a middle school. That was 2009. The first folks graduated in 2010. And from that, they graduated from college in 2018. So that's the first wave that we had. In that first wave, there are 5 students from that since 2018 pursuing not just getting a degree and not just getting a master's degree, but getting PhDs. We have 2 more we pursuing PhDs the next year. Again, this is your institution. This is the product that you are producing. Ashe? I say all this because as I look around and we don't see each other very often because we are having Zoom service. We don't recognize that we're aging, we're getting older, right? There's the grays, the thinning of hair, right? These things happen. Women hide it much better than we do. They got more accessories to hide, right? Brothers are kind of stark naked in that regard. You are who you are. I might get a weave or something, an extension, I don't know. But my point is, as we get older, we start thinking about our legacy. You start thinking not about what you used to do, but how you gonna go out, what you gonna leave behind. And those are different. What I used to do is past tense. What I leave behind is future tense. So we're in a mode that we begin thinking about what we leave behind. What is our legacy? Your legacy is this school. The legacy is the number and the body and the character of children that you produce every year that you put out. What they do with that information, what they do with that gift, what they do with that love that they receive. How do they change and transform the communities that we occupy and exist in? This is part of the legacy. I want to go further than that because a couple of years ago, we put together, we call it 10 vision, 10-year plan. Because we know we ain't got no leadership, right? We got no vision and we ain't got no vision, but what's our point? And part of our vision for our community is that we want to expand beyond Oakland. And you might be thinking, well, there might be a satellite in Berkeley or perhaps in San Leandro, but no, we want to have an exchange program with a school in Ghana. We want to have property in Ghana. We want to have an exchange program where students from a school in Ghana come here for instruction and students from our place go there, that we exchange staff, that we develop, we talk about being Pan-African, but let's go ahead and let's implement these ideas. So I want you, as we close out now, and I give you a happy anniversary for this day. And in doing so, I want you to think about how we each individually create legacy, how we build legacy, how we do it institutionally, and how we do it individually. Happy anniversary, Moses.
Ashe, brother Jahi, Ashe.
All I'm gonna say is Jahi al Yikwowe. Jahi, Baba Jahi, right on. Let's hear from Jahi. And Eli over there too. Okay, so it's time to pay the bills. If Minister Sidney was here, he would be saying, this is the best part of the service, because every part of the service is the best part of the service. Yeah. But every Sunday, we stop and we want to make sure that we do something. We call it our litany of sacrifice. We do something to make sure we get enough to keep the doors open and then to keep us moving forward. Both of our communities, we have a community in Oakland and the community in Sacramento, and we are both totally self-sufficient. We operate totally off of what we raise at these Sunday services and donations. And so at this time, I'm going to call forth the people that are going to lead the litany of sacrifice. I see Mama Connie is calling Minister Sidney. Okay. And I'm going to raise the screen, Jalea, so that you can light the candles for us, please. Okay, and I am going to come out and pass around the big basket that Jalea had and take up the collection here. So let me second. All right.
Good morning, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Got to pull this down. This is that time in the service, as Baba Tai reminded us, my favorite part of the service. Each and every part of the service, my favorite part of the service, but this is a part of the service where we kind of pay for those light bills, that we come up with some money to continue to pay the mortgage here. Or we don't have mortgage, but we pay the what's that, the taxes. Because we do own the paper on this building right here. So
we got bills though.
Yeah, we got bills. So we continue to grow. And so yeah. And so I guess we can go without it, but let me read this little part right here. And who see in the book of Antashaki, it says, the good fortune of a town is in the leader who acts righteously. The good fortune of a temple is in the priest. The good fortune of a field is in the time it is worked. The good fortune of a storehouse is in stocking it. And the good fortune of the wise is in their excellent advice. This is the time when we set aside to start to stock that storehouse. We start to fill it up, because as time goes on, we don't know what's going to happen. And we're hoping, as this is shown, that Wose being 42 years old is that time when we are actually available to do something. We have hard times for some families. We may be able to offer up something, to be able to provide an opportunity to provide space. So if you could take a look at the, and I can't see the, on the screen, does it have,
It's not up yet.
it's not up yet. We can start to, and Bill, if you can put the
Places of donation.
yeah, the place of, well, and also the statement, the litany. The litany of sacrifice and water. And I love this guy in the background, Brother Terrence, you know. He always makes me feel like I can sing along with him, you know. He like encourages me and turns my mic down. But but come on and sing, brother. So is it up? There we go. We should just begin. The litany says, save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might. Hear my prayer, divine protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How can we repay the Holy One for the gifts that have been given to us? We will lift up your for salvation and call upon the name of our ancestors. We will fill our mouths before you in the presence of all our people.
Gladly we bring our sacrifices to you. We will praise his name. Oh, Amen, for it is good.
Umoja, unity. We are to strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Kuji Chagalia, self-determination. We shall define, name, and speak for ourselves.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We shall build and maintain our communities together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together.
Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Together we will build and maintain our own communities and together profit from it.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness.
Kuumba, creativity. That's one you just read, huh? Kuumba, yeah, creativity. We shall build, let's see, we shall do all that we can in any way that we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it.
And together we say, Imani, faith. We will believe with all our hearts in our God, our people, and in the righteousness and victories of our struggles. Amen.
And if we could bow our heads for a moment. Oh, divine creator, we come before you with bowed heads and humble hearts, asking you to look down upon this community, thanking you for the breath of life, thanking you for a community such as we'll say where we have like-minded people come together. Continue to watch out for us, continue to help this community grow, continue to add on to the 42 years, to make it 43 to 53 to go on and on and on. As Baba Jahi said, continue to build this legacy. Creator God, we ask that you look out for this community, that you touch each heart and each soul, that within the sound of my voice, Most High, that you bless each and every one of us. We ask that you do these things in your most sacred name. Amen.
Thank you, Mother Father God. We're so thankful. Ashe, amen.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Brother Terrence to keep playing. And I'm gonna tell a quick little story, and then I'm gonna make an executive decision here. Okay, so I want to speak to all of you people who have any level of Kuumba creativity. You know how it is when you are creative and you go somewhere to do something and you get all warmed up and you're at the starting gate and you're ready and they say, hold on, not yet. Okay. And so you sit and you wait, and they say, okay, hold on, not yet. You know, and you wanted to go whether you're a track star or an athlete or a musician. Well, we have a bunch of musicians here who are champs who have been biting at the bit to get out here and perform. And we keep saying, not yet, hold on, brother. Since he's here, since he's up front, I'm going to ask the rest of the group to come on up and let's hear from you now. All right, let's hear from you now. This is Brother Terrence Elliott. Charles, I think he wants the mic. This is Brother Terrence Elliott, and I don't know if the group has a name or not, but I know they have been patiently waiting, and let them praise us. All right. Brother Terrence Elliott.
Thank you. Peace and blessings. All right, yeah, we thank you. Thank you for inviting us. And you're right, we came a little early, get set up, and we brought the whole ensemble and, you know, musicians. When we get set up, we ready to play. But we enjoy listening to the history. I used to have a place over here myself, Sister Con. We were over here playing and being a music director at one time here at Wosay. So we love you. We appreciate you. Good seeing you, Brother Jahi and Imhotep and I. We're family. We came up together. And we went to college together. We're both on that track team. I don't know if y'all knew, Minister Hotep was a track star in college. But yeah, he was a track star, all 6 foot of him, ran that 200. Ran that sprint, and he was amazing. But this brother's been in my life for a long time. Definitely has played for some things for him and his birthday and weddings and all those things. So we have been tied. I brought my band, the Naimani Music Ensemble. This is my wife, Amanda. Some of you remember her. T. Roy Marshall. I'm trying to get that out right. T. Roy. He's been with me for quite a long time. Just have a youth group, Wambaje. He was a member of that. Arlington Houston and I, here's the acoustic bass player. We brought out our bass player. He's a busy man. He works all the time. But I wanted y'all to hear the whole music ensemble. A lot of times we just come as piano players or percussionists, and we don't hear the whole ensemble. So I brought the whole ensemble out. And it's a little expensive, but you know, I'm willing to pay them to celebrate your anniversary with you. And my buddy who's holding it down with me, 3 of us are Leos, so you kind of know who we are. But Michael Spencer, who's on drums, and his father was my teacher in college, George Jazz Bo Spencer. Troy's brother, Michael Marshall, was my band leader when I was in a group called Timex Social Club, and we used to have a hit song called Rumors. Look at all these rumors. So we have a lot of history up here. And like I said, we've been around. Amanda and I have been together for over 40. We're celebrating our 39th wedding anniversary next week. So I just retired from college, from teaching after 40-something years. So I started in 1980 at San Francisco State in the Black Studies Department. I was in the second class of people graduating with a Black Studies degree from San Francisco State, and I'm still here. So, and so I just retired from the Contra Costa Community Colleges, and I'm on a new thing. So I didn't retire just to sit back. So when I knew I was retiring this year, I decided to go to school, and I put about 182 hours and got my certificate in sound healing, because I feel like we need to move this to our community. I appreciate what Brother Jahi is saying about education. I've been a part of this education in my community and the art and culture of my community for a long time. But I still see something was missing, and it was missing in me. You know, I'm educated, got a lot of degrees and all that, but I knew I was still dealing with some emotional issues, right? I still had some anger issues. It's hard being African in America. It's hard teaching about Africa, teaching about your studies, teaching about your history, teaching about a future where you want to be. Yes, I have purchased land in Ghana, and I've made it my purpose to go to Africa every year to make sure I'm learning more about myself. So we are trying to make that destiny. And so we're trying to change who we are as musicians, because, you know, COVID and the pandemic made us close down. So we're trying to now heal our community. And we know music is the healing force, right? In the beginning, there was music. And we know the voice and the vibrations and the frequencies is what's keeping us going. And it's keeping us moving forward. It's keeping us having this destiny. So we come to bring this healing force to you today. And so we need your help in this, because when we play music, music is a gathering of all of us doing it together. It's not, we're not coming to entertain you. And that's not even a part of our scope anymore. It's about healing and about being in community. So we're here to be in your community. Both Say is our community. It is our home, because we have set this up to establish this. Doesn't matter if I'm here with you on Sunday, or it doesn't matter if you see me a lot, but my home is knowing that I'm an African, and I'm going to keep teaching this to my community and sharing this information about who I am. And I am an African, and I am a revolutionary. And so I want you to join me today, and we're going to do the healing sounds. And this is a song I call the Om Shu Ra, right? Because when we talk about sounds that heal us, we know the three sounds that heal us are the Om. And so we want you to do this song with us. So we want you to start off getting your feet on the floor, getting your back sit up, getting yourself ready for it, right? Because when we get ready for hearing knowledge, we got a keynote coming. We got to get ready to hear the message, right? So I want you to get in that spiritual sacred place, right? And get yourself hearing that Om. And I want you to do that Om with me. Om. Om, that universal sound, that sound a part of the space, that void, right? The five natural elements, the Om. Om. Next, we're going to do the Shu. Shu, S-H-U, Shu. Shu. The breath, the wind, Shu. Right, God is Shu. Shu, Shu, Shu. And the last one we're going to do is Ra. Right, the sun, bring the sun with us, the light. Ra. And the rhythm is going to sound like this. Om Shu Ra. Om Shu Ra. Om Shu Ra. Right? So we're going to have you sing with us, and you'll know when to come in. All right, band, let's get it.
Story
say. Peace and blessings.
Humble, thank you, Sante
We have
Sana.
another song we'd like to do, if you don't mind. This one we call this mantra for healing. I will be one of the greatest. That's my vow, that's my promise. Always wanted to be famous. Just being real, just being honest. My haters will always be nameless. I give them no power. Creators I build, they are different. They are ancient, but they're I keep my eye open on the numbers. I'm above a lot of things, but there are a lot of things above me. People I love, I get scary, then I get ugly. No problem when I'm not the equation. Presence, notice, observation. I'm not new here, reborn creation. Come and find me. I'm sending my location. Sending my location. Sending my location. I will be one of the greatest. That is my vow. That is my promise. Always wanted to be famous. Just being real. I'm just being honest. My hater was always told nameless. I give them no clout. I give them no power. The others built different, the ancient. Sooner or later, they all will be ours. I keep an eye on the numbers. I stay in constant synchronization. Infinity, go beyond it. I am a comet, no destination. A lot of things are above me, and there are a lot of things above me. Do not come for people I love. Then I get scary and I get ugly. Ain't no problem when I'm not the equation. Presence, notice, observation. I'm not here, reborn creation. Come and find me.
location. I'm sending my location. I'm sending my location. Sending my location. Come and find me. Sending my location.
Sending our location.
Sending my location. Sending my location.
Our location.
Sending my location.
Our location.
My location.
Yeah, so what we need, y'all, we need to keep breathing. Keep taking those deep breaths from your belly. Push it out. Breathe. Breathe for life. Remember the healing sound. Remember, we got to get ourselves together. We're a mess. We can't help community and family until we get our own emotions in check. Remember, take a minute and meditate. Listen to your elders. Listen to the ancestors. Take a minute to pray. Say how you feel. Gratitude. Your attitude of gratitude. Because I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be celebrating 42 years. Yes. Yes. We're here. We're here. Ashe. Peace and blessings.
Sending our location.
Send in our location. Come and find us. We're here.
I think that might have been this. I'm gonna turn it on. Brother Terrence, Elliot, Brother Terrence and band, let's hear it for you. Let's hear it for you. Right on. I say. And if
We
we're,
have
if
one
we're
more
lucky,
if you want
if
it
we're
later.
lucky, we're gonna get them back. We're gonna get 'em back. Okay, so one of the best parts of Wose for me is that we're surrounded by scholars, right? We're surrounded by scholars. Everybody in Wose is a scholar. Everybody studies. Minister Imhotep is a scholar. He studies. Minister Makalisi is a scholar. He studies. Brother John Jackson is a scholar. He studies. And they're all willing to share what they have learned. So we're surrounded by scholars. But in Wose, we are honored to have one primary researcher, right? I mean, a historian, an actual historian. A primary researcher is one who actually goes in the field and does the study for himself, right? He doesn't teach us what he reads, what he's read. He teaches us what he has gone into the field and uncovered. And so this morning, we are honored we will have a presentation by our primary researcher, Brother Professor Manu Ampin, who is not here today because he is in Africa right now doing research, uncovering. He's in Juba, Sudan, as we speak, doing research. But he took the time from Sudan to send us I think it's 20 minutes, a 20-minute break. He sent more, but we cut it down a little. But so we're now going to be honored to have a presentation by Brother Professor Manu Ampin. So as soon as you're ready to key it up, I think it's either Minister Bill or Brother Jeff that are running it for us. Here we go. Thank you, Brother.
Greetings, we'll say. This is Professor Manu Ampin coming to you from Juba, South Sudan. And glad to receive the honor of being able to share with you some of my insights over the years regarding the theme that the community has chosen for this 42nd anniversary of the Oakland Church. And I'm honored to be able to address this issue of the 42 principles of Ma'at, the foundation of our future. I think it's an excellent theme, concept, and title, and I am going to be able to address this. And in fact, I'm in South Sudan as I'm on a current primary research tour to partly address that question about the principle of Ma'at, not just a principle in Kemet, but if we're going beyond that to look at the ostrich feather that Ma'at is symbolized by. And then the broader question is why not only the ostrich feather, but the ostrich bird itself, which has been fundamentally integrated in the culture in Kemet, but not just in Kemet, but the entire region. So in the brief time that I have, I'll address this and hopefully give you some insight that can be
Can you
not
see?
only historical, but practical for the Wolsey community as we move forward.
No, we cannot see it.
You're not sharing your screen.
Greetings, Wolsey. This is Professor Mainu Pim coming to you from Juba, South Sudan. And I'm glad to receive the honor of being able to share with you some of my insights over the years regarding the theme that the community has chosen for this 42nd anniversary of the Oakland Church. And I'm honored to be able to address this issue of the 42 principles of Ma'at, the foundation of our future. I think it's an excellent theme, concept, and title, and I am going to be able to address this. And in fact, I'm in South Sudan as I'm on a current primary research tour to partly address that question about the principle of Ma'at, not just a principle in Kemet, but if we're going beyond that to look at the ostrich feather that Ma'at is symbolized by. And then the broader question is why not only the ostrich feather, but the ostrich bird itself, which has been fundamentally integrated in the culture in Kemet, but not just in Kemet, but the entire region. So in the brief time that I have, I'll address this and hopefully give you some insight that can be not only historical, but practical for the Wolsey community as we move forward. So look at the concept of Ma'at and Kemet, the significance of the feather, the importance of the ostrich bird, and also I'll end by addressing the issue of Wolsey and Ma'at. And then hopefully we'll be able to present enough that you can move forward with on a practical basis. But there's nothing more important than this great concept of Ma'at. And so that's what I'll be addressing. And I'm glad that this topic was chosen because it's right up my alley. It's something that I've been pursuing now for years to really understand, not only on a conceptual level, but a really deep level to understand how and why it was integrated so thoroughly into the classical African cultural tradition. And so let me show some slides to put this in context and hopefully give you some new ideas about the concept that many of us have heard about for quite some time, and that's Ma'at. So again, the theme of the 42 laws or principles of Ma'at, the foundation of our future. And so obviously I don't have to say a lot about my work over the years, but I have done quite a bit of extensive field work in the over the last 3 decades on this topic in a couple dozen countries. So Ma'at is the great principle that is the overriding principle that governs everything in the region in terms of the most important rituals, ceremonies, and ideas. So the goddess Ma'at, as you see here, Ma'at is the law. It's Ma'at that govern in every arena. It's Ma'at that govern the universe. And here you have an image of Ma'at. Here Ma'at is presented, as you can see, and it's the text, the Medu Neter text here says that Ma'at is the daughter of Ra, the daughter of Ra, of God. So the firstborn of the creator was the law, Ma'at, and they chose to represent this great law of the cosmos as a woman with an ostrich feather. And this is not just chosen at random, but it's chosen very specifically as we look at this this powerful image of the goddess Ma'at, which represents divine law and truth and justice. This is the highest possible law. It really is. It's the supreme law. And so when Ma'at governs in the universe, it's Ma'at that kept the planets in their orbit. It's Ma'at that's responsible for the alternation of the day and night. It's Ma'at that keeps things in order, not only on the cosmic level, but also in the natural world. Everything is in its proper place and plays its proper role because of the principle, the great principle of Ma'at. It's Ma'at that's responsible for the balance and the harmony and the proportion. This is the fundamental basis of Ma'at in the natural world, but it doesn't stop there. It's also in the world of the living, in the human community. Ma'at is the elevated notion of moral perfection. It's the elevated notion of moral perfection. And Ma'at is that fundamental symbol that governs behavior, where people are expected to think Ma'at, do Ma'at, speak Ma'at, have Ma'at becomes a intuitive part of their behavior and conduct, where their conduct is based on truth and justice and right order and balance and harmony. And the great principle of reciprocity, that's what Ma'at's about. It's divine law that operates among the human community. But it doesn't only stop there. Among the living community, Ma'at also is the concept that travels to the spirit world and governs the duat, the place of spiritual transformation. Ma'at is in control of that area as well. So it's a broad concept that was not just an abstract idea, but is practiced in the living community. And when people pass on to the spirit world, Ma'at governs there as well. It's a powerful symbol fundamentally integrated into the day-to-day conduct of the people. And this is what's significant about this great principle of Ma'at. In addition to this, so if you look at the human community, is that everybody was bound by and had to follow Ma'at. So here you have Seti the first among many kings and all kings, as they are installed, they're given their crown, they're given their ability and authority to rule. And then you see in the next scene, here you have Seti in front of an altar who is offering what? He's offering Ma'at, that he's going to rule according to the law. He's not above the law. He is bound by the law. And he's presenting Ma'at, the great goddess, to the Holy Trinity, the first known Trinity in the history of humanity, of Asar, Aset, and Heru. And notice that they are in a shrine. This is an enclosed shrine, and he is presenting this great concept to them because this is what he must rule by. This is significant because he's ruling not according to his own ideas, his own whims, or whatever he thinks. It's not like that. He must be bound by the law. Now, this is completely different than what we see in, let's say, England, for example. In England, the kings ruled by what they call divine right. It was their divine right to rule, and they answered to nobody other than God, and God was themselves. So this is why they can be imperialist and vicious people masquerading as some great leaders, but divine rule in England, it simply meant that they were not accountable to anybody other than themselves. That's fundamentally different than what you see here in Kemet in classical Africa, but that even the king is bound by the law. And in the spirit realm, in the place of the duat, in tombs, and the duat is a place of spiritual transformation, you have the same thing. It's Ma'at that governs. Here you have the King Ramses III. He's presenting Ma'at. This is what he's governed by, and this is what governs the entire region of the Duat. These 12 hours of the night that are depicted in the tombs. So he's presenting the great principle. And here you see, this is Ma'at, the woman with the ostrich feather. And some destructive clown has destroyed some of the imagery here, chipped away the face, but still you can see the great principle of Ma'at, her fundamental symbol, the feather in front of an altar being presented. And you find that everywhere. Here you have the king presenting Ma'at to Asar. It's everywhere. It's the great principle that governs every arena, including the judgment scene. You all have seen the judgment scene. This scene is not just for those that have passed on and crossed over or transitioned to the spirit world. There's at least one or more texts that also says that this judgment scene and this important moment of the two truths, where the person is either going to go in the right direction or the direction of punishment. But this scene here is also for those who are upon the earth, meaning the living. So here you have the initiate. He's not always a deceased person. He's the initiate. He's in his ceremonial white outfit, and linen outfit. He's being led by Anpu, the great deity here that is significant in this realm, and we know that he's a high power because of the Ankh. But here at the judgment scene, you see on the scale, this is symbolically the heart of the initiate. And on the right scale is the feather of Ma'at. So the goal is to make sure that there's balance between a person's heart, a person's being, and this great principle. Now, we know in reality, a heart weighs about 10 ounces versus a feather that weighs less than an ounce. So how could they balance? It's a conceptual idea that a person has to have a light heart in order to be successful. A light heart means that the person has to live an honorable life, a respectable life, a life based on Ma'atian principles, not as some general abstract concept, but as a day-to-day practice. And the person now is at the judgment where he or she has to say out loud what they've done and to give the 42 declarations of innocence. And it must be truthful. So Jehuti's writing down exactly what this person is saying and what the reality is. And the beast Amit, this is a composite animal with a crocodile head, lion's body, and then the tail of a hippo. So this is a composite animal, Amit, who's watching carefully and listening to exactly what's being recorded at this initiation ceremony. And if the person is not truthful, if he's not Ma'at Kuru or true of voice, if he's not speaking truthfully, then Amit will eat his heart and end his existence, to annihilate the person. So this is what he is anxiously looking at and observing. So the person has to say and give the 42 declarations of innocence before these assessors here. There's 42 assessors of Ma'at to assess if what is being said is true. So the person has to say, I've not stolen. I've not taken milk from the mouth of babies. I've not defrauded the sacred offerings. I've not caused anyone to weep. I've not been sexually impure. I've not eavesdropped. And there's a whole list of 42 comprehensive set of values that this person has to say, I've not done those things. I'm a righteous person. I don't have to be told, thou shalt not do this or thou shalt not do that. That's for naughty people. Those are people who are spiritually off base, who have to be told and scolded and warned. And the concept in Kemet, completely different. The person is righteous and the person will say that I've not done these things. It doesn't mean that a person has not made a mistake. It doesn't mean that they have not made an error. When they say I've not stolen, I've not taken milk from the mouth of babies, I've not defrauded sacred offerings, what they mean by that is that I've not made it a habit. That's what they mean. And here, the initiate is successful. His heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at, is found to be true, as he is humbly before the 42 assessors. And then you see him in the next scene being presented to Asar, who judges the entire scene because he's the first person to die and be resurrected in this great elaborate concept. So this initiate, as he faces the hall of two truths, he's shown successful. And this is normally the case. They're shown successful is a positive outlook, but a person must be truthful in order to be successful in that realm. And it is ma'at that judges, that is the fundamental foundation to judge if the heart is light. Now, if a person is lying and they've lived a life as a scoundrel, as a low-level person, as somebody with shady character that cannot be trusted, that lies on a regular basis, whose name brings forth a foul odor. Well, if a person is saying, I've not murdered anyone, I've not been impure, when they, and I've not spoken falsely, when a person mentions that, if they are lying, then they will have a heavy heart. So there will never be balance in the scale if someone is untruthful. So the way in which the scales will balance is the initiate is truthfully saying, I've not done these things, so they have a light heart. They're not burdened down with guilt because they know that they're lying. And so he's passed this important judgment, past Amit, and Jehudi records, and he's being successfully shown in the next scene. At this great judgment, what the goal is to become an Akh, AKH, to become an Akh. An Akh is a glorious spirit. An Akh is an elevated being. An Akh is an elevated ancestor. You have people that are elevated. In Kemet, they call them an Akh. And there's many stela, like wooden plaques of a person's achievement. We call it like a tombstone today. And you have these plaques with an Akh. You know, sometimes there could be a couple that are both Akhs. That Akh is an elevated ancestor, someone of high, powerful status that is highly respected. People even wrote letters to the Akh to help them to resolve conflict among the living. They write letters to the Akh to ask them to bring about the rain, or bring about, more specifically, the overflow of the Nile, to help resolve conflict, to bring about the birth of a healthy baby. An Akh can do that, according to the people in Kemet. So this scene is not just some symbolic scene, but it's something that's quite practical. And it's important to know that Ma'at is just not some nice concept of truth and justice and right order and balance and reciprocity and harmony. Is more than that. It's the law. And to create harmony and balance, one must be active to pursue disharmony, to pursue chaos and throw it on his back on the ground. So you see Ma'at on a regular and consistent basis taking care of those that were outside of the law. Here she is, Ma'at, with her classic feather, as we see. But more than that, you see the Ankh, and notice the rope tying together a number of enemies. They're tied around their neck and their hands are tied behind their back. These are people on their knees. You don't really see their legs because they're subdued. This is Ma'at in action. This is not some anomaly. This is the broad aspect of Ma'at to govern the conduct of the people. So we can do no better than to recognize that Ma'at demands that we address injustice, that we address groups or people that are out of order or out of line, even in our own ranks. You're not doing anybody any favor by being silent in the face of wrong conduct and wrong actions and destructive speech in our community. You're not doing anybody any favor, and you're certainly not practicing Ma'at if you ignore these things just to go along, just to get along. That's not how Ma'at operated in arguably the highest level development of African classical civilizations of which we know. This is a high level development, high level civilization, and they put in the middle a great concept of human conduct to keep everybody in line, where they're expected to practice and do and speak ma'at on a regular basis, even confronting those that are out of order and making them pay a price, as you see here. So the principle of ma'at is the principle that we are embracing, and it's important that the 42 principles are laid out. And by the way, the number 42 is because there were 42 sepats or 42 districts in Kemet. So there was a power associated with ma'at in each of the districts. So it has to operate everywhere, every arena, every commission, every circle, every location where we have, we'll say, and have these structures in place. If we're following the great principle of ma'at in the 42 laws, they must operate all the time, and everybody has to be held accountable, as you saw with kings, with rulers, chiefs, everybody. If they're out of order, then ma'at demands that they be approached and their behavior be directed and corrected. So this is a basic overview I wanted to give you about the 42 laws of ma'at and how that could be a foundation. And so for me, it's always about not just the idea and the concept, but where did it come from? And it's interesting and insightful to see how it was integrated into the classical African tradition, and is still being used today to govern the rural societies and rural communities, even as in urban areas, we're losing, not only in the US, but even here, people are losing their way from some of the traditional understanding and traditional values. But the traditional practices, some of those are fading away. And it's my role to make sure that we can look at the past in order to understand the present and to make practical implications from that. So ma'at for us has to be a practical concept where we're holding ourselves and everybody accountable. Otherwise, it's not ma'at. It's just something else. But ma'at is balance. That is encouraging those to do well, continue to do well. In the initiation scene, it's a person becoming a respected and protected ancestor. And eventually some in that group will become an ak. And there's other people who have to pay a price because they're out of line with their behavior, their conduct, their speech, their energy, whatever it may be. And there was a price for that group to pay. So that's what I wanted to share with you, Wose. And obviously, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to give you some insight about this elevated notion of moral perfection and this great principle of ma'at that we have to make sure that we're implementing it on a regular and consistent basis. So thank you for listening, and I will join the live ceremony today if I have a good connection, but if not, I see you on the state side when I get back. All right, advancing the work.
Who entered it? That was very good.
Shay.
Ashe, that was brother Professor Manu. Let's hear for him. Yeah. I'm gonna ask our musical performers, if they'll come back and give us another song before we go out. Brother Terrence, and I got your name, my sister, beautiful. Amanda and brother? T-Roy. T-Roy, okay, all right. I'm gonna ask them to take us out with some music. And afterwards, so we'll know, I'm gonna ask everybody in the room to come forward and sing with us. Lift every voice and sing.
As we extend the invitation to those who want to join us.
Go ahead, brother minister.
Oh, okay. All right, we got the mic on. We lost our bass player, the drummer, I'm sorry, they had another gig this morning. Try to get him here. So we want to leave you with maybe our outro, as T-Roy tells me, our outro. So we might need you without your mask. This is one, well, you're familiar with that. Sydney, I caught when he sent me a letter. I said, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put that to a song, Sydney. So this is one that we always leave in blessings as we leave each other. We say, Uja Shane.
Y'all can join us, come on.
Yeah. Prosperity, good health. That's what we need. Yes, come on. What do we say? Let's get on our feet. Let's stretch it out. Come on. Let's get up.
Come on.
Let's make some noise. Look at the person next to you and say, Uncle Josh Neff.
Uncle Johnson here. Uncle Johnson here. Uncle Johnson here. Uncle Johnson here.
Life, prosperity, health. Life, prosperity, health. Life, prosperity, health. Uncle Johnson.
Uncle Johnson here. Uncle Johnson here. Uncle Johnson here.
Life.
Life, prosperity, vitality, health.
We got to bring it to each other. We got to bring it to our community. We got to bring it to the world. Life, prosperity, health. Hey.
Uncle Joshua.
Uncle Joshua. Oh, Uncle Joshua. Uncle Joshua. Uncle Joshua. Uncle Joshua.
Peace and blessings, peace and blessings.
There we go. Right. Before we close out, there are a couple people I want to just acknowledge. We have some members of the Wosay Council of Elders here, Brother Baba Katabasi, a new council member, Baba Jahi, Minister Sydney, Mama Kanke in the back, Mama Fanya, and Brother Desmond, and Mama Connie, who is the new council of Elders. Also want to acknowledge Brother Charles Brown, he's been our sound guy today. Yeah. All right. And now we're going to bring up Brother Baba Sydney, Minister Sydney, to.
Okay, real quick, and I want to again just thank Brother Terrence and Amanda Elliott for coming, doing what they do. T-Roy, I haven't had a chance to really speak to him, but you know, we go back a little ways. And just to recognize what today is, this we're talking about is 42 years of being together, an anniversary of 42 years. And we understand that these things just don't happen. It happens, it takes work. It takes like putting a mop bucket, filling it with water and mopping the floors. It takes starting a school. It takes studying the principles of mind. It takes learning and everything, and then love. All of these things it takes to put something together, to have this institution still standing. And so right now is that time when we ask, is there anyone out there who has been overcome or heard something that would lead them to come join this movement? Is there someone out there who has heard something that has touched some part of their heart? Some of it has come about by academic studying as we listened to Professor Manu, and he decided to take that studying that he did and put something together for the community. And that might be you. Some of it is done by your artistic flavor, that artistic, that kaumba, like Brother Terrence and Mama Amanda, who've taken the knowledge that they had and put it in a form where it comes out. Uncle Johnson there with a beat, where you're rocking, where you're feeling it. Is there someone who has heard something like the children this morning who came out and did the Young, Gifted, and Black and said, we are young, gifted, and Black? Is there someone out there who this has touched? If it is, then just type in a message, raise your hand, or contact someone on the council. Ashe. And as we take the time to do this, we know we're running a little bit late. I would ask, like, those who feel so inclined, those who can stand, those who can move a little bit, to come up and help me give this the Black national anthem. We don't even need to say just the national anthem, because we know it's going to be the Black national anthem. I don't even know why I say that. It's like an oxymoron. Is that what they say it is, or something like that? Go ahead, Jahid. Hey, I get a chance to sing with my sister Amanda. If we can come up and put our voices together and just do a little something. I need to leave her the mic because she got a stronger voice. There we go. All right. All right, everybody. Are we in? Can we get, oh, look at this. Folks, if y'all look out here, we got a little, oh, Lord. Oh, and it's the Young, Gifted, oh. Give me some of that. Ah, look at that. Can we, all right, all right, all right. Is everybody, here we go. We ready? All right. Is there, everybody's up here, but Babu started, he's holding down the back, keeping their food in check. All right, here we go. Lift every voice and sing. There you go. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the blazing sky. Let us resound loud as the roaring sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present
has brought us.
Facing
the rising sun of a new day begun.
Till victory is won. And as we hold on to those ancestors, following those footsteps that we laid out in the sand, we know that we are one people, with one aim, one faith, one destiny.
One destiny.
Let's all say the name that we've always said for so many years. Amen. You are the most beautiful people on the face of this earth. Ashe. Woo.